Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Gritty Business Podcast. My name is Matt Moline, and today I had a great opportunity to sit down with Matt Smith over at Champion PEO. It was a fantastic conversation. We really got into some good specifics about the growth and success of the company. We really got to speak about some specific strategies and best practices that have really helped move their business forward. I love the story behind this company. I thought it was a great conversation, and I think you're just going to learn a lot from Matt. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Gritty Business Podcast. I got Matt Smith with Champion PEO. Thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate it. We've just been chit-chatting here, and we thought it'd be good to get you to come on and talk about just what you guys are doing. And you got a pretty good story as far as where you guys are today. So with that, let's kind of start. I'll have you just kind of introduce yourself, and if you don't mind, just tell us who you are and how long you guys been in business.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you so much, Matt, for having me. Matt Smith, I represent Champion PEO and currently the CEO and director. We've been around since 2017. The idea really came about years and years ago, but we've been growing ever since. And, we're a lot different than a lot of the other PEOs out there. And that's one of the hardest questions to honestly answer when I approach a prospect who really has no idea what we are. Mm-hmm. There's about an 8% penetration in the nation with PEOs. So overcoming that objection hurdle is the biggest piece for us. But
if you were to give just a quick elevator pitch, a 30-second deal, just what is it that you guys are providing as far as services?
So we're a boutique, family-owned and operated back office management firm. We manage human capital, your employees. So we're a fly in the wall to your growth. The biggest thing that we try to do is take as much off the employer's plate as possible while we do it on the back end. And that can consist of, our core services, which every client gets is high-touch payroll, comprehensive HR support, and then we have an in-house legal firm that takes care of government compliance, risk management, and things of that nature. And then on top of that, we have some services for growth. So they're like light switches. We can turn them on and off for companies who are ready to take that next step and offer employee benefits, retirement plans, and even high-touch recruiting. If they want us to just go out there and find quality employees and help them retain those employees. We can do both sides of the fence. So,
gotcha. Okay, let's kind of back up into the progression. How long you guys have actually been in business now?
We've been in business for about 7 years.
So 7 years. So not that long.
No.
On the scope of things. And then just how big are you guys as far as employee base and?
So we have clients throughout the state of Michigan, east, west, and northern Michigan, mid-Michigan too as well. We also have clients in some neighboring states as far as Florida, as west as Arizona. Mm-hmm. So and that happened by chance. We want to sink our roots in Michigan. We want to keep doing that.
Okay.
But we do sign clients that have businesses elsewhere. And as long as they're headquartered in Michigan, we can service them pretty much anywhere in the nation. We do hold a couple licenses in a couple of other states too as well. Because of those clients, they refer us to others. And of course, we want to keep servicing clients that are in their local vicinity.
Right.
But for the most part, our 85 to 90% of our portfolio is in Michigan, which we're very proud of.
Okay, that's good. Just like us, very Michigan, based and rooted. So that's, that's awesome. 7 years ago, there was a decision to open the doors. So lead me to just kind of give me some background on the why you guys decided to put all this effort. And obviously it's turned out very good. For a lot of people starting a business, it's not the story. So when you guys said, "Hey, we want to move in this direction," what were some of the things that you said? This makes a lot of sense. Let's open the doors. Let's pursue doing this. Can you give me some background on that?
Yeah, well, it doesn't start with me. It starts with my father. My father, Michael J. Smith, he has been an attorney going on almost 4 decades. Very big reputation in Michigan. He does law work throughout the nation, but he has amassed this network, this Rolodex of incredible business owners, incredible influential people from the entertainment industry to the, athletes to just influential people who have multiple businesses.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he has always wanted to do was how can he help his clients in another manner than criminal defense or litigation when it comes to employment related matters, contract agreements. And that's when he became part of the co-counsel for one of the largest PEOs to ever exist in Michigan, called Simplified Employer Services. And because of his experience with that PEO, he knew that he wanted to start one at some point. And he was just waiting for, I guess, one of his sons to get, old enough and to pass that torch and to help him build it. And I was the one that got the call,
right?
Fresh out of college, still working in retail. And he's like, Matt, I need you to get your insurance licenses for, health, accident, life, and P&C. And I got all of those to help me, read policies and to kind of get up in the up and up on, employee benefits and things of that nature. 2 years into it, I still had no idea what a PEO was. I was really trying to figure out what.
That's a very honest answer.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving gears. Putting it all into something that's digestible is one of the hardest aspects of really selling the value of what a PEO can bring. And it takes a while. It took me almost 3 years to really understand the concept and the benefit to a small or even a medium-sized business owner on what a PEO can really do for your bottom line and for your projections 3 to 4 or 5 years out. So he decided to open up a PEO. It was around 2015. We were getting the idea together. We were getting things on paper.
Okay.
Our legal name is Champion Employment Incorporated. And when we first went live, we noticed we got a lot of calls from employees looking for jobs.
Yeah.
Hence the name Champion Employment.
Okay.
So to differentiate ourselves from being a staffing company, which we're not, we did a rebrand in 2020 with Champion PEO.
Okay.
And it just made sense. Our URL is Champion PEO. All of our social media tags are Champion PEO. It was a real sublime kind of transfer into that PEO space.
Yeah.
But the meaning behind Champion is really from my dad's competitive nature growing up. He played all three sports, basketball, football, and baseball. Mm-hmm. He pitched for the minors for the Red Sox. He threw a 96. He's just the most competitive person you'd ever meet. And of course, he becomes a criminal defense attorney, one of the more competitive fields where you got to go toe-to-toe with the state or the federal government or a judge and defend your client. He wanted to name the company of what he feels like employers can be if they're given the room to grow, which are champions.
Yeah.
An internal quote we have at the office is surround yourself with assets, not liabilities, become a champion. That's exactly what we do for our clients. We surround them with people, technology, and resources, and at the same time transfer their liabilities to us and give them the freedom to grow.
Who would you classify as who is your client? Who is your ideal client?
Ideal client would be probably around, size would be right around 20 employees. That's the national average, according to NAPEO, the National Association of Professional Employer Organizations. 19.1 is the average employee count for the average size businesses of a PEO. It's a good size. Yeah. And I can go into that. Right around that size, typically, they don't have an HR department internally. Right. Usually at that size, they're either doing the payroll themselves off QuickBooks or they're farming it out to a third-party payroll provider. There's just some aspects of a business around that size that are not being focused on completely understandably. Businesses should be focused on growth, should be focused on the bottom line. How can we get better? How can we increase our margins? How can we offer a better product, a better service? The administrative aspect of a business is always left as the last and least priority, and it really should be brought to the forefront. And if you're not willing to do that yourself, There are companies like us that will do it for you as if we were part of that business. So genuinely, we care about our company's growth. If our businesses grow, we grow. I mean, we base our cost off per employee per year.
Right.
The more employees you have, obviously the more money we'll make, but the better growth or projected growth that you will have as a company.
Right.
I mean, we're not shy to say that. We base our growth off our clients' growth. If we're growing, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And that's something that we really stand by.
Well, the proof is really, really there, right? If it's either is or it isn't, you guys have been able to acquire a lot of clientele. I know when you guys started, you guys got into, as far as the timeline of things, I know you guys got butt up the COVID and everything, and something unique happened to you guys. I'd like you to kind of talk about that stage, and I know you guys are heavily into the cannabis, side of things. That wasn't necessarily by choice.
Yeah.
But can you kind of tell me a little bit about what happened, in that end?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we got into the PEO space, we really had no intention of getting into the cannabis market.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't on our line of sights. During that time, it was pretty much federally illegal. There was some gray area with caregivers. It was a little bit medicinally decriminalized in Michigan.
Right.
It was still very gray. So we had no intention. We had so many connections and so many avenues to go to outside of cannabis that we still have today. Light manufacturing, aerospace, retail, hospitality. We love those industries. High turnover industries is what we love because we'd like to correct that issue. And typically it's just an administrative company culture type of issue that if we shed light on it and, we can fix it. We can kind of bridge that gap. What got us into the cannabis industry is a really personal matter with our family. So how it all started was when we were right around 2018, 2019, we were building our client base. We were hiring internal employees. We were finding our footing. A couple of years before that, my younger brother had rotator cuff surgery. And it was done by a family friend. So everything's hunky-dory. Should have went without a hitch. Pretty common surgical procedure. Well, of course, there was an issue where the surgeon left an 1.5 inch long canola needle in his shoulder and told our family that, it's going to be more of an issue taking it out than actually, leaving it there. So we took their advice. And unfortunately, my little brother, he contracted an autoimmune disorder from it to the point where he had to go to U of M to get it taken out. Wow. They didn't know what was wrong with him. His bones were bleeding. It was so bad. His arthritis was just, poor guy, just started college at CMU and is going through all of these issues. It was so bad, he actually was admitted to the Mayo Clinic for about 5 days just to get diagnosed. And they ended up diagnosing him with an acute autoimmune disorder due to that malpractice. We successfully sued them. So,
yeah.
My little brother did get some justice from that, but his symptoms are ongoing. And I grew up in a very conservative family, no tobacco,
right?
No marijuana,
right?
You come home stinking and you better have a good excuse,
Very similar upbringing myself. Yeah.
So whatever the doctors told us, we did.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, pain medication, basically, Vicodin, hydrocodone, Oxycontin, Percocet, you name it. We still have gallon-sized baggies of just empty prescription bottles as something to look back to on how cannabis has really changed his life. Mm-hmm. And that's where it took, that's where it really took, kind of took the journey to cannabis was he developed like a IBS from just so much prescription medication going through him that we decided to go to a holistic doctor. My mom decided to branch out of the norm and say something's not working. Let's see if there's something else out there. And one thing led to another, and he was prescribed cannabis.
Okay.
Hasn't taken a prescription ever since. He's been able to live his life a lot easier. So much so that he ended up becoming the goalie for Central Michigan's hockey team.
No kidding.
So from barely being able to get out of bed to taking pucks to the face. I mean,
From what years?
so, oh God, this was, I would say, I graduated 2010. I would say this is between 2010 to 2014.
Okay.
Which would line up perfectly with kind of getting into Champion.
Okay.
So once we realized cannabis was the way out for him,
Yeah.
it really made me and my father think, how can we get into this cannabis game to make it easier for everyone else to get cannabis? Because the only way my little brother could really get cannabis was from a caregiver.
Yeah.
So my older brother became a caregiver and he started growing cannabis. Didn't know how, had a couple of friends that knew, put it all together, and now his first patient was his younger brother. So it was kind of like a family effort. And we really got into cannabis very, very quickly to the point where, we were now having round table conversations about the benefits and effects of cannabis. I never thought that would be something that me and my family would be talking about, let alone getting in business with.
Yeah.
So all from that unfortunate circumstance that my little brother is still paying for, our eyes got a little bit widened and our horizons kind of, widened as well. And we welcomed cannabis with open arms, which led to me and my father figuring out, we had countless meetings. How can we solve the war on cash, which was no marijuana related business could get a bank account. They could not get a business bank account. It was, you're either taking the cash directly to the bank, hoping that you can deposit it without it smelling, or just stuffing under your mattress, literally. You can look up countless news stories of dispensaries back in the early teens just getting robbed at gunpoint, whether it was at their location or at the owner's house, because they knew they had a lot of cash on them. And that was something that we wanted to find a solution to.
Yeah.
We assumed other people were trying to find a solution to this too. And we were hoping they would find it or we would. And we ended up finding it. We were the first PEO in Michigan to accept marijuana-related business money through the NCUA.
Okay.
So we went through the credit unions. We first visited all the national banks, I would say Fifth Third, Flagstar, Chase. Just because of who my dad was or is, we had introductions to some of the higher ups at these larger banks, but it was always a no. It was always like, we would love to do it. It's just our hands are tied. It makes sense, but our hands are tied. And the biggest, the biggest benefit or the biggest, I guess, contingency that we would let these banks know that we would be the PEO, we would be the firewall between the cannabis dispensary, the cultivation facility, the processing plant, and the bank. We would make sure that they are in compliance, make sure the payroll is done right, their taxes are paid. So that was a huge, benefit for these banks to find some wiggle room or gray area to allow us to operate, but to no avail until we went to a credit union. And by happen chance, it was a credit union that I went into randomly with one of our insurance providers. And we sat down with the CEO. She just happened to be there. And basically how it started was back in the Obama administration, there was these memos called James M. Cole memos, which consisted of basically 8 guidelines that were going to allow banks to accept cannabis money. It was made, I believe during the end of the Obama administration. And then of course, the Trump administration came in. Jeff Sessions basically rescinded all of it, understandably so. You have a liberal administration then going to a conservative. But those memos still existed on the internet. And once I read them and found them and went over them, that's what I presented to the NCUA to follow, to basically have a playbook so we could, have some common ground, have something on paper, and have some guidelines to say that let's try this. Let's see if it works. We're going to be very cautious. And, are you willing to come on this journey? I mean, both of us should see dramatic increases in growth, considering we're probably going to be the only people in Michigan doing this. So they went to the NCUA and they were the only branch in Michigan to get the blessing.
Really?
And they became our client. The credit union, and then we went off.
So things kind of progressed from there.
Yeah.
And then I know then 2020 happened.
Yeah.
And then you said that really pushed things, really accelerated, put the gas, put the,
Oh yeah.
things moving forward, right? What was that like?
It was a wild ride. So as soon as we were able to have a banking solution, we just went out, and it was like shooting fish in the barrel. I mean, you go to you go to a dispensary, and you tell them, the first objection is we don't have a bank. Like how are we going to get you, how are we going to get your paychecks? How are we going to get you your money? And I said, well, we have a solution. And one of the things that we made sure is to not strong arm or charge a lot for this proprietary temporarily.
Yeah.
We knew it wasn't going to be in our cards for a long time.
Right.
This temporary solution, we made nothing off the connection from offering this banking solution. Fast forward to today, banks that are dabbling in the cannabis industry, and still not all of them are, they are charging an arm and a leg. I mean, upwards of thousands of dollars just to start the bank account, hundreds of dollars a month just to maintain the account. We even heard some banks charging a percentage of all deposits, which is absolute thievery. So we made sure before we decided to market this that the costs were going to be the same, if not very similar to starting a normal business bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And they made that agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe what was like $500 to start. I think it's like $125 a month to maintain the account, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing. You can bring as much money in there as you want. And we started taking on clients.
Yeah.
Some of our current clients, we started getting them banking solutions too as well.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. Exactly as you said, COVID hit, and we braced for impact, just like every other business. We didn't know what was going to happen. We never shut our doors. We followed every CDC protocol imaginable.
Yeah.
We broke up into remote, basically a hybrid kind of scenario. I love being in the office. Not so much today. I love working remote. Don't get me wrong. But during that time, I loved being in the office, and I still went to the office every day. Had to take my temp at the front and whatnot. But when we found out that all cannabis companies were deemed essential businesses, that's when we all looked at each other and were like, okay, we got to brace for a huge impact, because this may help us. And as greedy as that sounds, because I know firsthand of so many small business owners who had to pack up and close up shop, so many families that were impacted. And the fact that cannabis was deemed essential, and mainly due to the reason why there was a huge medicinal need for cannabis,
right?
Which is understandably so. That caused a lot of our companies to just go bonkers with sales, expand greatly. One location turns into 3 almost overnight. There's a term in the cannabis industry called vertically integrated, which means you have a cultivation facility, which you grow your marijuana. You have a processing facility where you process your marijuana into sellable products such as pre-rolls or concentrates, or just packaged, herb, and then a dispensary to sell it to the public. We had a couple of dispensaries that were just mom and pop shops. All of a sudden, they're vertically integrated. They're growing their own stuff. They're processing it themselves, and they're selling it to the public. And that's when you really, really start, being a player in the game, I guess you could say, in such a watered down market in Michigan.
Right. Let's talk about just you guys in there. So obviously starting this 7 years ago, there's a progression, that's happened. What were maybe some of the challenges that you guys faced along the way? Maybe highlight just a few of those as far as, what you guys have experienced, whether it's personnel, IT, whatever. I'd love to hear what was then, and obviously how have you overcome since then?
Well, like every business, growing pains are probably the forefront of the challenges that we faced. When we started this company, we really didn't have anyone that was a seasoned vet in the PEO industry. We did have a couple of legacy employees that did have some experience in the PEO industry from like an operations or an IT standpoint that did help us kind of get our footing, build our foundation when it comes to like contracts, things of that nature. The law firm helped out a lot when it came to making sure everything was, all the T's were crossed and I's were dotted when it came to, client service agreements and things of that nature.
Well, it does help that they're right there with you guys. You guys are right next door. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful relationship there. So.
Yes, it is. And that's something that's also going to be a challenge as we grow. We have to make sure that the law firm is capable of taking on, the influx of clients and the worksite employees that we have. Yeah. We have a couple really cool ideas that we want to incorporate with the law firm as like an employee benefit kind of scenario, kind of like a legal shield aspect, but for just our clients and their employees to opt into if they want some, civil infractions or misdemeanors taken care of, kind of like a retained attorney, so to speak. So some of the things that we're planning ahead of time, but those growing pains were probably the most difficult. A lot of it was guttural instinct in tandem with just relying on our team. And I tell everyone this, you can find the same services at every PEO. You really can. Payroll, HR, compliance. Not every PEO has an internal law firm. There's none in Michigan that exist. We're the only ones. Nationally, there's some big players that have, partnerships with large commercial legal firms that can add some ancillary benefits. But focusing just on Michigan, you can find pretty much the same services. And I'll say that right to a prospect's face. You can find the same services at any PEO you go to. What makes us different, and I'll always mention this first, is our internal employees.
Yep.
And that's really helped with our challenges and our growing pains in our heyday. And they continue to be an invaluable asset as we continue to grow.
Yes.
I tell everyone, we hire attitude, we train skill.
That's so similar to what we do. It's the same conversation that the people are the differentiating factor. And it's not something you just say. It's, just be like, our people make the difference, right? We've heard that before, but hiring the right people, we kind of use the term, like we call it the soft skills, because we can teach, the technical side of things. Yeah. But in your case, you're looking for the same qualities, that integrity piece, the people that actually truly care about the client. Yes. It's very hard to teach that,
It is. So instead of teaching it, we find it. And then, if they need to be trained on our software, which is common. I mean, the software that we have is a relatively newer company in Texas, and that's really the backbone of every PEO is what is your HRIS, your Human Resources Information System? What is going to be the software that your employees are going to be interacting with, your employers are going to be interacting with, and kind of getting a bird's eye view of their company? That is where we invest the most money in, is our HRIS. And the one that we chose is called Pro Software out of Texas. We recently took the whole team last year to Texas, my first time in Texas, and we got to meet all the people that we interact with on a daily basis. Incredible team. One of the best UI or user interfaces that I've seen. It's sublime. It's very Apple-like, very widgety. It's just easy on the eyes. It's very easy to learn, and it oozes value in that white glove kind of aspect where when you open it up, it's your business you're looking at. You're not looking at Champion PEO's colors. You're looking at your logo. You're looking at your colors. You're looking at your business through the eyes of our HRIS that we take care of on the back end for you. And that really is where that technology piece comes in. Mm-hmm. And then of course our people, our internal team is incredible. I'd like to highlight two of them, if I may. Amanda Paduch, she initially came on as just an executive assistant about two and a half years ago. Fast forward to today, she's head of our operations. She's also takes care of some of our bigger accounts that we have. Yeah. She's an absolute genius. She is fantastic. The ability that she has to learn so quickly is alarming almost. I mean, she excels incredibly fast. one of the things I tell our team all the time is, I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'll be the first to admit that. I feel like a good characteristic of a leader is to hire people that are much more smart than they are.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with who you really want to be, and it'll make you strive for something that's greater than you could ever imagine. And that's the fire that really burns in that torch of Champion PEO. Another employee I'd like to highlight too is her stepdaughter, actually. I know there's enough nepotism in this damn company as it is, between my father being the owner, me being the CEO, then of course, we've got Amanda and her stepdaughter, and her stepdaughter came after Amanda. I needed a seasoned payroll provider, and we were kind of hitting some duds, and I wasn't really satisfied with the kind of quality of applicants that we were getting. I felt like we could do better. So why not source internally? And which I should have done right from the beginning, is trial and error. You just figure things out as you go sometimes.
Right.
And she mentioned, well, I've got a stepdaughter who's been doing payroll for about 7 years. Been working with the same company for 7 years. I'm like, I love the loyalty. So talked to her, brought her on board, and we trained her. And now she's basically the director of our payroll department today. And she's just an absolute soldier. Incredible person, awesome work ethic, very good trainer too as well. And that's one of the things I didn't expect her to do, is to be vocal, not just with people that we bring on to train, but with our clients. She was working, I believe, with the ADP system back when she was doing payroll. I think it was for hotels. Forgive me, Brittany, if I'm getting this wrong. And so she wasn't really talking to clients. She was really a payroll specialist. She was administrative only. Her computer, her workstation, she did her job, did it very well, very, very well. So transitioning to not only doing things a lot more manually, but also talking to clients, solving tickets, possibly even walking through some minor HR issues and things of that nature. Yeah. She took it really, really well, and she's just running with it. And one day she's going to be, the director of payroll if she wants it. I don't see anyone else in that position that would be better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Promoting internally is something that we've done ever since I assumed this position in November of 2022, and giving our employees the freedom to grow, just like we do our clients, is so important. Focusing on their needs and wants. And not to be a hypocrite. There's so many PEOs out there that say the same exact things that I do, saying, we want to focus on company culture. We don't want just to be your payroll provider. We want to enhance your company culture and focus on your work-life balance. But they don't do that internally.
Right.
And these employees get burnt out, and you get dog water for service. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to really focus internally and be a little selfish and figure out how can we make our work environment just as good as our clients, or at least what we would like our clients to look like at the end of the day.
Yep.
And that is, we're all adults, we're all professionals. Everyone understands accountability. And as long as you do your job, you have the freedom to really spread your wings, spread your creativity, and have a voice regardless of what your position is. We have an open door policy with everyone. And I think that synergistic type of mentality that we have internally has got us to where we are today. And I cannot wait to hire more and more people so they can experience this type of culture that we have, because I think it's the new wave, I guess you want to say. I know employee culture has come up a lot, especially in HR.
Yeah.
In tandem with remote work, giving a lot more perks to employees that may have never existed 10 years ago. That's something that I want to be on the forefront of. And I think we're doing it today, and I think it's paying off.
Well, yeah, I agree with a couple of things you said on that, is that, it does start from leadership down to do that. If you're not providing a service, and that's something you want to emulate to, your client base, and you're not doing it internally, then you're just not going to do it. You're not going to be great at it, period, because for many reasons that we just already, you already discussed with us. So I 100% agree with that. And also too, that comes down to overall customer satisfaction and what people are going to say about you. Reviews and everything is going to be a big indicator of that. Yeah. It's not necessarily the that you get necessarily a bad review or anything like that, but like the quantity of that is going to happen. People are happy with the business and the service they're providing. They're going to want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, having, the reviews and stuff that, you guys, I've seen online, from what I've seen, has been great. That's usually a pretty big, key indicator of a company is qualified or not, do it. And that's just kind of where the world is now. Everybody's looking on Amazon for the next whatever. And, I'll admit it, you shop and you go, okay, this has got 4,000 reviews. This has got 200. Okay. I'm probably going to go with the one that's, 4,000. Mm-hmm. So, capturing that is really essential. In hiring people like that, people are always looking for that quality person, right? You're saying you're looking for it, you're finding it, obviously. How do you go about doing that? Because that's a hard thing for a lot of companies, is like, well, we just can't get quality people.
Yeah.
Or you hear, oh, there's just, good work's hard, good people are hard to find. But then I see companies that are like, oh, we don't have a problem. We have positions, that we need to fill, but we're waiting for the right person, in there, and they have the ability to do that. So I think there's somewhat of a disconnect there, but I'd like to hear just, what do you guys do?
No, yeah. I mean, to talk about how we recruit for clients, which is a really cool service that we started in January of 2021, it's taken off. We have gotten to the point where we have staffed entire businesses from the ground up. And they have retained, I would say, a good 80% of those employees. But to talk about our recruiting, I have to really talk about our services in general. So I've mentioned a couple of times, we provide high touch, non-boxed type of services where there's a lot more wiggle room for our clients to be truly who they are. We treat our clients like the hardworking employers that they are. We don't treat them as numbers.
Yeah.
We know our employers by name. We have select account representatives for each one. There are 6 ways to Sunday you can get in contact with us. And if all else fails, and if you call and it goes from one person to another, it's going to come to me, and I guarantee I'll answer. So regardless, very seldom you'll ever get a voicemail or an unresponded email within an hour. We're very adamant on making sure that our clients are aware that we are here and we are here to take care of them. And that really transcends all of our services. When I say high touch, it's high touch. It's the point where it's not just an open door policy, which we have. If you want to ask us a question, if you want to, discuss a project that you want to start, let's do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're proactive, which every HR department should be. And it's where a lot of PEOs come short. I believe there's 2 words that can really define a good HR department, which is documentation and being proactive. Mm-hmm. If you're proactive and you document, you can really turn a company around from a processes and policy and procedure standpoint. And that's the type of services that how we service our clients is from that really white glove, boutique, bespoke kind of family owned and operated, the kind of service you would expect from a family who's putting their last name and their reputation behind every button we push and lever we pull.
Yeah.
And that transcends all the way down to our recruiting, and how we go about it is very, very high touch. One thing, I'll just kind of give you an overview of how we recruit, because I would really like for more companies to do this, because I feel like candidates that go down this recruiting realm, when they hear the word staffing company, they just get PTSD. They start getting flashbacks like, oh, Jesus, I'm going to get no closure. There's going to be no communication. I'm going to jump through hoops. I'm going to do, tests based on my ability to perceive things or to be accountable. Those 20-minute, 5-minute long tests that sometimes you have to do, wastes my time. I don't get any feedback at all. And that's the kind of thing we like to squash, is making sure that communication or expectations are set.
Yeah.
Communication is there, and closure is given regardless if it comes to fruition or not. And we use platforms like Indeed and ZipRecruiter, and then it's our own social media. But we've amassed an incredible database of candidates that we have screened and talked to and had virtuals with, that we've actually formed a relationship with. They follow us on social media because they know they're going to get really good service if we have an opportunity for them.
Yeah.
I let each one of them know that, we're not a staffing company. We're not going to be farming you out into the abyss. This is going to be a very secular type of hiring process. You're going to be dealing with me one of my representatives through the entirety of the process. And regardless, you're going to be, given closure, and communication is going to be set. And it's a very great process. I've had people not get the position and thank me. It's gotten to that point where they just appreciate that it's a quick process. There's communication, there's closure. But from a 30,000-foot view, we meet with the client. If they want to recruit, if they want our recruiting services, we meet with them. We discuss exactly what position it is. Is it a new position? Is it for a new location? Do they have a job description? We go down the entire list. Are there going to be benefits involved? Are there going to be, bonuses? Is there going to be a commission involved? We make sure to cross all the T's, dot the I's, so we get a complete job ad, which we can create from scratch if they want. We get it signed off, get approved. The job goes live in a couple of hours. We send them the public link. So if they want to, farm it out to their social media, they're more than welcome. We offer an anonymity service. So basically, it's very popular with our cannabis clients, especially the cultivators, because they're not open to the public. They don't want people waving their resumes, coming and knocking on the door. So we are the face of their company for them. We recruit on their behalf. And we let every candidate know when we talk to them. We establish the relationship. Every single time, they're like, I completely understand the anonymity. I completely understand, which is great. We set the tone, set expectations, which is very important. And then we go through a screening process. So screening process can be anywhere from 5 to 10 questions. It could be either over the phone or virtual. Usually virtual is more for executive type positions, C-suite kind of things. Like recently we just did a director of cultivation who's going to be making 6 figures. We did virtual meetings with each employee or each candidate, went through screening questions with them, made sure they were real people, recorded everything, got their permission, of course, and we took a lot of notes. And along with that, their resume, their contact information, their recording screenings, their references, personal, professional. I mean, you're getting a complete application package that now you can just set up formal interviews, make your decision. Once your decision's made, we implement the employee, and it's just a sublime transition from right then and there. It's their employee. It's a W-2 employee. It's theirs. And as far as what we charge if they hire.
Right.
I mean, no cost at all. If you decide not to go with any of the 5 applicants or 10 applicants that we send you, there's no cost whatsoever. Yeah. Only if we hire one.
No, I like that because it shows a lot of confidence in what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And trying to get something in the beforehand, try to pay for whatever, in the beginning of that, but saying, no, it's going to be until you hire somebody, that's when you're going to get the bill, basically. Is the way you're saying. So that's pretty cool. That's a good way to do business. And like I said, there's a lot of confidence behind that. And that service, what you guys are doing as far as like the people and the resources that you guys have, I mean, it really is a unique piece to what you guys do. Because like you said, there are a lot of other companies that do that, but you having basically, your almost in-house law firm and everything else behind that is really cool. And that's a big differentiator from what I've seen and understanding more about, what your guys' business does.
Yeah.
What would you say some other, unique pieces or differentiators that you guys have?
Well, going back to what I said previously, people, resources, and technology. So I covered people really well. Our internal employees, we hire attitude, we train skill. We have a very casual and open environment in our workplace. And as far as technology goes, a big aspect of that is our HRIS, pro software. They're phenomenal. Very, very great platform. But a big other piece of that, and when the technology, of course, is our resources, the people that we partner with. We strive with every partner that we have to really try to find someone local.
Yeah.
Grit is one of them. You guys have been a huge help with the trust that we have to instill with every client that we bring on. I mean, not only that are we your payroll provider and your HR support and your back office administrator, but for people that don't know, the difference between a PEO and a payroll provider, let's just use ADP.
Yeah.
Everyone typically has probably worked for someone who had ADP at some point. I worked for retail at Vitamin World, getting myself through college. I got my check from ADP.
There you go.
The big difference between, a payroll provider like ADP or Paychex or Paycor and A PEO is we become the employer of record of the business, which means we take all the risk and liability when it comes to paying taxes, communicating to the IRS. And it takes a lot of the liability and risk from an employer and passes it on to us, rightfully so. If you're going to be doing someone's payroll, you should have some elbow grease in there. You should have some, responsibility, not just making sure that everything's being paid, but you should share in some of, if not like us, all of the liability involved with every button we push and lever we pull when it comes to their payroll, and just compliance pieces with local, state, and federal government agencies. So that's the big, that's the real big difference between just a payroll provider and a PEO. And of course, the uniqueness that we provide, being a family-owned and operated business, providing that concierge type of service to our clients, which I believe wholeheartedly is bar none to anything you can really find, not only in Michigan, but probably the Northeast, if not the country. And I really hope more PEOs like us sprout up, because it's only going to help the economy. It's going to help business owners recover from 2019 through 2022. This is the type of service that really makes a difference between a business's bottom line, is people that actually care of how much money they're spending on administrative services and how much we can cut and how much value we can inject in every level of their business. We're all in it together. That way, it makes it easier for our clients, at least at our size right now, where you can contact literally anyone and we'll have an answer for you. And if not, we've got someone right next to us that does. A couple of projects in line. We're going to be releasing a new website at the end of the year. We're really excited about that. The website we currently have up, I made, and I'm not a website developer at all. This just goes to show you our grit that we have. We have integrity, and whenever we can save money internally to pass those savings on to our clients, we will do so. And if it's learning a new skill like WordPress, or do it. You're also looking at the person who does all of our social media. I do it on the weekend. I use a CRM, and I do it a month in advance. And whenever I find an article or a need to post something specific, I'll just take 5-10 minutes and do that. We try to cut costs whenever we can and try to fill our plates in order to lower our labor costs, so we don't have to put another boot on the neck of these employers who have to navigate, red tape and compliance and their own costs, and we, of course, are a cost to them. We try to justify that as much as possible and, make that worthy of the value that we inject into their business and their employees' lives. But we're completely aware to that. So whenever we can round out our own corners, we will do so, no problem at all. But we've got a lot of great things, not only the new website, but we've got a couple of, we've got one specific project that's coming up that's going to be a really, really big jump into how we are marketing in Michigan specifically, and just our sales force. So it's just by happen chance. Take it our influence in the cannabis industry or our influence in other industries. We have grown. A majority of our growth is due to referral. So we have had the pleasure of really not marketing or advertising. I mean, we have no advertisements out there outside of the social media that we have. That's the only marketing that we're doing. I like it that way. It's the same way that my father's law firm has gotten to its size and his reputation. They have done no marketing whatsoever. Mm-hmm. It's kind of word of mouth. You can go to these billboard law firms and not talk to the person who's on the billboard, but talk to someone on the 800 number, and quickly find out that you're just another cog in the machine. Or talk to actually my father, who owns a law firm. Whether he works on your case or not, he's going to give you one to one of his attorneys who knows that he can hit it, out of the park. So that's the kind of mentality that we've had. We do no marketing, no advertising, but we have grown through word of mouth, and we've grown through referrals. And referral is the best compliment you can get. Like we were talking before, we're not scared to let people know who our clients are. We've built an incredible relationship and a trust that I believe is unbreakable. You can offer your services for free. I would bet my bottom dollar they do not leave. Our services are just bar none when it comes to navigating these uncharted waters that a lot of business owners have to navigate because new laws or new regulations or new stipulations that come up, especially in the cannabis industry. It's the red tape is incredible. And the fact that we have been a small fly in the wall and a little bit of a benefit to them in the long run is the greatest compliment you could really get.
Yeah.
We're just getting into the hospitality industry too as well, both into the retail space and in the restaurant space. We love it. We love businesses that have challenges. We're not shy to a new industry. There are some industries that normal PEOs typically stay away from for liability purposes. But for the most part, we do our due diligence. We make sure that the relationship will work. And we're really looking forward to the future ahead. We really are. And it's a wild ride. And I just love to be a part of it.
Well, we're glad to be a part of it with you. So it's cool to see where things have been, in the handful of years that we've been, in working with you, and just looking forward to the future. It's great. So happy to be part of it. So
likewise. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here, to be honest with you. I love that you guys are doing this. I mean, there's no other client that we have that does this type of outreach to their current clients, not just to have conversations just randomly with people that within your network, but to invite clients in to talk about what they're doing, not just what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge. I mean, one of the points I want to make today is the fact that, what you guys do have gotten us a lot more trust with a lot of our clients who asked, who carries the load of your internal data infrastructure.
Yeah.
I've referred you guys everywhere. I don't know if it's ever worked or if, someone actually reached out to you, but I refer you guys everywhere.
Yeah. You've gone through the process with us, from me originally sitting down with you guys to, you're going, who is this guy? He's off the street somewhere, should I trust him with, our IT and all of that, to then saying, okay, what he said is, okay, he's some of the stuff is true so far, to where, you've given us some amazing reviews, and we can't thank you enough for just that feedback. And, quite honestly, the next phase, once we get things like corrected and, you guys have done some improvements and things like that over time, it's kind of like, what's the next phase, which is that digital transformation phase.
Yeah.
And that continued partnership to where it's no longer, okay, you're just the IT vendor, it's, I definitely think it's progressed since then in talking with Callie, and she's obviously more involved with you than I am, but it's cool to hear what you guys want to accomplish.
We've got some big things coming our way, man. In the next 5 years, we are going to quadruple. I mean, I'm possibly 5x our size. It's going to get nuts, and it's one of the things that's really keeping me up at night. And one of the things my father always tells me, he goes, don't be afraid of success.
Mm-hmm.
We've been eating crow for a while, and we're finally coming to the part where we're going to be reaping what we've been sowing for years. And a lot of it is due to the fact that we have a great reputation. Clients, if a client has left us, it's because either we're too expensive, which is fine.
Yeah. Because
our price justifies the services that we provide, or they've gotten so big that it just doesn't make sense for them to pay us, almost $250,000 to do their payroll and support their HR. They can bring it internally.
Right.
And we give them options where they can get a SaaS or SAS, and they can just bring it inside. And
there's a similar philosophy with us on the same side of that, because we've had very similar conversations.
I don't know if it means as much as like in the security field, but in the PEO realm, we keep our client list close to our vest. And that's something that I want to break up, because if your service is really good, then you shouldn't have a problem promoting one of your clients. So doing something like this on our end is something that I would love to do.
Mm-hmm.
First, we're going to get into it a little bit differently of just, promoting our clients on social media. Go ahead, approach our clients. They're not going to leave. Our relationships with our clients. Exactly. They're just so tight. We have been through the trenches with some of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that, we strive at Champion is to not put people in a box and really give them, live our motto, live our tagline, freedom to grow, really give them the freedom to grow, whether they're in cannabis or not. And cannabis was never our initial niche that we wanted to be in. It just kind of happened, and we rolled with it, and we wrote a playbook that didn't exist. There was no manual to follow when, servicing a cannabis client. We had to do a lot of things that have never been done before. We're never going to get recognized for it. We're never going to get an award or a plaque or a shake from the governor.
Right.
We were the first PEO in Michigan to be to welcome marijuana-related businesses, mainly to get them a banking solution, which was the big issue. The war on cash is what they used to call it. Dispensaries having hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in their safe and getting held up, robberies, things of that nature. So to get them really compliant and to get them on the straight and narrow and to reduce that taboo that cannabis has on it, is what really propelled us. And then COVID happened. And it just was like a perfect storm.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, I learned a lot just in our conversation today. It's great to see your guys' own growth as well as what you guys are doing with your current client base. I can't wait to see what happens in the next handful of years, and we're just grateful that we're partnered with you. So this has been great. Thank you for coming out, and it's cool with you. I'd like to close on that, man.
Appreciate it, Matt. Likewise, and thank you so much. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Cool. All right. And